Peace, 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 peace and blessings, everybody. How is everyone doing on this beautiful Sunday evening in December? This is your one and only, the Eco Beloved, aka Brother Bilal, aka Imam Bilal Hassan, reporting live here on New Freedom Exchange. We're streaming simulcasting on New Freedom Exchange, Facebook, YouTube, also simulcasting on the Eco Beloved Facebook page, upon which I invite you all to go like right now. The Eco Beloved, same name as on the bottom left corner. Go ahead and go like the page, the Eco Beloved. Also, we appreciate you all tuning in this evening for a brief discussion that we will be having this evening in reference to this potential to have our first major winter storm, snow. Yes, you heard the four-letter word. A lot of people either like or dislike, either hate or love it. We'll be talking about a time frame between Wednesday and Thursday of this upcoming week, this work week. Again, keyword is potential. We're still some days away from the system even taking the system that we're talking about, even making landfall in the West Coast. So we're gonna get there. We're gonna talk about that, and I'll entertain any questions that you all have. Also, if you are tuned in, where you are tuned in, please let us know where you're tuned in so we can shout you out. We'd love to hear from those who are listening, our listening audience. We want this to be as interactive as possible as we look to launch this platform. Imam Musa sends sad face, or a face of not too good. Yeah, face of not too good, right? So thank you for tuning in, Imam Musa. Thank you for tuning in. Anyone else, please feel free to let us know where you're tuned in from. We can highlight you, bring you up. Again, we'd like to make this as interactive as possible. It's been a while since I did one of these discussions, and we plan to bring back these discussions more frequently. Next year, we look to continue these discussions on a more daily basis, daily digital, and we also look to launch on the Patreon, on our Patreon account. We look to develop some tiers for this discussion here, for these discussions that take place. And as a lot of you all know, for those who've been following me for a long time, you see my face on this beautiful platform, but also you see me do these discussions quite often as relates to the weather. So we're going to bring those back. The 1 Point Weather Report is back. We're going to bring those back, and just stay tuned for more information on that. So Imam Musa is tuned in from New York, of course, the New York City that never sleeps. So shout out to New York City, and this storm will have impacts in the New York City tri-state area as well that we will be discussing this evening. So without no further ado, anyone else, please. Oh, walaikum assalam, Sister Sabria Mills, Dope Muslima Podcast. Pleasure to have you, Sister Sabria. Thank you for tuning in. Yes, so without no further ado, we're going to get right into it. We'll start with some pulling up some discussion points for this evening and highlighting that. Of course, my Sister Khadija. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for tuning in, as always. Now, so first things first, let's discuss this right here. This was put out at 5 o'clock this evening from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, which is known as NOAA. They put out these briefings when it comes to events like this, either winter weather related events or severe weather related events as far as tornadoes, and also the National Hurricane Center puts out information as well as relates to hurricanes, these type of statements. So this type of statement, we're going to break it down. There is some language here, and there's some graphs on the right hand side of the verbiage which we will read. So it says the title is nor'easter. We're going to define that. Expected to impact the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast this week with heavy snow and icing, as they say. This was released at 5 o'clock p.m. Eastern today. 3 bullet points. A major winter storm is expected to impact portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast this Wednesday into Thursday as a nor'easter develops and lifts up along the East Coast. Heavy snow is expected west and north of the I-95 corridor and near the DC, Philadelphia, New York City, and Boston metropolitan areas. Meanwhile, there's a growing concern for freezing rain and ice accumulations across parts of what? Northwest North Carolina and Southwest Virginia. Confidence remains above average that significant impacts such as travel disruption and power outages are likely over portions of the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. However, there remains some uncertainty with the exact track of nor'easter, and thus also the location and magnitude of the heaviest snowfall. So let's look at the pictures, the graphs that are to your right here, where it says the top says probability of meeting winter storm warning snow criteria from 7 a.m. Wednesday to 7 a.m. Thursday, and on the bottom it has a 24-hour probability chart of ice accretion of greater than 0.10 inches, a 0.10 inch of free ice. That ends at 7 o'clock on Wednesday. So first, let's do the discussion on the first graph. There's a high confidence in that both models, the European model, which is derived from out of Europe, weather guidance, and also the American model, which is the GFS model, which we'll discuss momentarily, has a high guidance in agreement that days out that this shows that this storm system that has yet to come into the States. Right now, it's still in the Pacific Ocean, and that storm system will make its landfall in Cali and the Pacific Northwest, that's Washington State and Oregon, and affect that area going into tonight into tomorrow. So we'll get better guidance, better sampling data will come in tomorrow. So therefore, there will be some more talking points. But for the talking points this evening, that darker red color that you see there, that's way above 50%. We're talking about 60, 70, even 80% that will meet the probability of meeting a winter storm warning. Now, what is that? A winter storm warning is basically saying that the storm that will impact this particular region, will be happening within the next 24 to 36 hours, and that it will dump a large amount of snow and also ice. But that ice concern is more reserved for the North Carolina, Virginia area, the western portion of the state of North Carolina, and the southwestern portion of the state of Virginia. For us, we would have to be concerned about the snow. That is our concern. As you see, that red color covers a large swath of basically the whole central eastern state of Pennsylvania, getting into portions of the northern Maryland, also the eastern portion of the state of Virginia, getting into central and northern New Jersey, the Hudson Valley, just north of New York City, all of Connecticut, basically almost all of the state of Rhode Island, and basically almost the whole state of Massachusetts. And anything outside that yellow color is about 50%, which is still a high probability that we will see a winter storm warning or winter storm snow in this region. There's still high probability. So that's the first point of discussion. The ice factor that we'll see, there's a possibility in the state of southwestern portion of the state of Virginia and the northern portion of the state of North Carolina, is due to what we call is damming, a damming effect, which will allow the cold air that's coming down from Canada will seep further south, and the moisture that we will see coming from the Gulf of Mexico with the storm, or coming from the storm system rather, will meet this cold air in the south. And usually when that happens, the cold air gets stuck. When it dams in the Appalachians and the mountains, it gets stuck for a while. And when it gets stuck, we get these durations that we could see a long period of ice. Not snow, but ice, which is also very dangerous. And accumulating ice can bring down power lines and trees. That's why it says in the third bullet point that we're concerned for power outages and travel disruption, but mainly power outages, mainly in that regard. So that's the first map. Let's bring up the second one. Okay, this is from the European model. One of the models, again, derived from Europe. Weather computer system model that inputs data. We receive data and we input it into the system, right? So this was one of the models for the European that came out. And you see these dark colors, red and orange mainly, a lot of red and a lot of orange. So at the top, it says reads probability of total snowfall greater or equal to 6 inches. That's a half a foot. Again, as this kind of makes sense with the guidance from the guidance that we just read from the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, this matches that. We discussed winter storm warning, and you saw the area that was covered by the winter storm warning, or the probability of having a winter storm warning. Now you're seeing why that guidance came out today, because of a series of runs from the European model and from the GFS model that suggests that this can potentially be a bullseye, or a big swath of at least 6 inches or more of snow. And again, that covers most of eastern and central PA. It covers, again, northern New Jersey into the Hudson Valley, Connecticut, Rhode Island, and getting into Massachusetts, and stretching back towards Maryland, especially the western portion of the state, and into Virginia as well. Now, anything south. So like you see coastal southern New Jersey, Delaware, you don't see them shaded into anything. Almost it decreases in terms of amount of snow we get to basically almost less to almost nothing. It's because there will be a lot of, there's the potential for mixing of rain or just changeover to rain along those coastal areas due to the temperature gradient factor as well. So where the cold air gets locked in, that's another thing, is where is the cold air getting locked in and the precipitation arriving at the right time with that cold air getting locked in. So the computer guidance is suggesting that the cold air will be locked in, and we'll have snow all the way down to almost the coastal areas, which the big cities are along I-95, New York City, Philadelphia, DC, Baltimore, getting up to Boston. But again, the concern is still mixing, especially along those coastal areas. How much mixing of sleet or freezing rain can we get, or do we get? And then will that even make a difference between the snowfall accumulations? Again, that remains to be seen. Next guidance. Okay, let's get that off. Oh, here we go. All right. This is another snapshot of the European model. Its positioning of the storm system. You see a little low pressure system that sits at just off the coast of New Jersey at 997 millibars. 997 barometric pressure. And these purplish, bluish colors that you're seeing here, especially these dark purple and like violet almost colors, that is all snow. The green obviously is all rain. We're not really too concerned about that unless we're talking about along the coast, again, with the mixing and the possibility of sleet, freezing rain, or just plain rain getting into the mix. So right now, what we're seeing here from the European guidance is positioning the low nicely off the coast, not inland. If the track is further hugging the coastline, then we'll get more influence from the Atlantic Ocean, more of the warmer air coming in off of the Atlantic Ocean, and that will warm temperature stop along the coast. But as if the storm positions itself just far enough off the coast, not too far, where it takes all the precip with it, but if it's positioned just enough at the sweet spot, then we will get all snow even down to the coast, which is what this is showing basically. basically without that, with not too much explanation, other than that there will be a sharp potential for a sharp cutoff. I want to say too in the precipitation shield, that just because this swath of snow goes back to central PA, central eastern portion of PA, does not mean that potentially there will be a sharp cutoff further north or northwest of inland. So again, it remains to be seen how the storm fills in terms of this precipitation shield, in terms of the swath of snow. Okay. Now we're going to pull up the GFS computer model, and the engineer in the back will pull that up for us, and we will play it for you all. If you can scroll down a little bit, there's going to be a play button. Keep scrolling. Scroll back up. Back up. Okay, the play button moved. Okay, the play button's right there. Okay, my phone, it moved. I'll press play. I don't know. We'll tell when we're going to stop. Okay, slow down, slow down, slow down. Press pause. Okay, right there. Okay, scroll down a little bit. Okay, this is our storm system right here. Right there at right off the coast of the Carolinas. You see it. And you also see that damming I was talking about, that pink color right there. That's where that ice and freezing rain is going to be, right there. And you see it's starting to fill in with snow to the north of that into Virginia and getting into Maryland and then eventually getting to PA. And of course, to the south of that, we will be concerned for rain and possibility of thunderstorms in the southern portion of the southeast portion of the states of Georgia and Alabama, etc. So let's press play and let's try to. We're going to pause it again, but let's press play. Okay. Whoa. Go back. Just some. Go back some. Yeah. There we go. Right there. Let's pause it right there. Okay, so here it is. Now the storm is getting its act together. More robust. You see more filling in now. Now things start to fill in. Is now the storm system. The storm system is now the center of location has now moved to just off the Tidewater of Virginia, around the Richmond, Hampton, the Hampton Roads, Richmond area. Right now, you see that those darker blues are now inundated into northern portion of Virginia, getting to DC. It's snowing. It will be snowing now in DC again. It will be snowing in DC. It will be snowing in Baltimore, and now it will be snowing also into Philly, and then it's something starting to fill in most of central PA right now. That's what the guidance is saying. So let's play it slowly. Let's move the bar slowly again. Let's move it very slowly. Right there. Let's stop it right there. Here we go. Now, even though we inched it a couple hours into the future. This is the future. We're looking at, this is the Wednesday, Thursday. You see Thursday, December 17th. But we're looking now at the time frame between Wednesday and Thursday. That's the time frame. This is a 6-hour average. This is a 6-hour model. All those numbers to the side, hour 6, hour 12, 18, 24, those are all the 6-hour increments. This is where we're at. So now the storm system has just got off the coast of the Virginia, and now the darker blue color is now into DC. There we go. Let's zoom in. There we go. Very nice. Beautiful. Shout out to the engineer. Now, like I said, the storm system made its way off the Virginia coast, and now is sitting right off to the east of Delaware, right off the Jersey Shore. Smack dab, DC, Baltimore, it's snowing, dark blue, heavy snow. Smack dab into Philly, it's snowing all of South Jersey and into Central Jersey at this point. And now the snow is getting filling into North Jersey and into New York City and Long Island, and it's starting to fill in the lower Hudson Valley. Right? Let's move the bar slowly again. Let's move it forward slowly. Let's move it slowly forward and see. Right? Okay, now let's stop it right there. Let's zoom back in again and let's see what we're looking like. All right. Oh, yeah, there we go. There we go. Right there. There it is. So now the storm system is sitting offshore. It is still snowing in Jersey, in New York City. Now it's getting to Connecticut, Rhode Island, and then Boston and the Cape Cod of Massachusetts. Uh, Again, Central Eastern PA, I'm concerned for a cutoff at some point. Again, it's about how big of a piece of shield do we have with this system. The darker blues are very centered in along the coastal areas, in along the I-95, along that corridor here. And I'm really concerned if, in fact, the piece of shield is that big. Where does these heavy snow bands set up? That's the other question. Where does the heavy snow band set up in order to produce 6 inches of or more of snow? Some of the models are producing uh, 12 to a foot to 18 inches. And not get people too excited because again, it's too early in the game. Right now, the storm is yet to come ashore. Once it comes along shore, the elements come ashore tonight into the West Coast. Tomorrow morning into the rest of tomorrow evening, we will have better sampling. But this is the sampling that we have now. This is the guidance that we have now. So I'm not going to say to you, prepare for a foot of snow. Am I going to say prepare for 6 inches? I'm not even going to say that. I said we'll say prepare for the possibility and the probability of seeing accumulating snow in this area, in this region. Prepare. That's all. You know what I'm saying? As we get closer, and Monday we come back with you all. We take a look into to see what the newer guidance is suggesting. Then we can talk a little bit more. But this evening, we just want to be focused on what is the guidance saying and how can we do. She says, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Okay, that's the slogan. And I know that's perfect for some people for the holiday spirit, to get into holiday spirit. This will be something to get people into the holiday spirit, cheer them up, perhaps. Let's move this thing a bar forward again and see where it takes us. Okay, now this is Thursday, and I assume we'll be getting to Thursday night and to Friday at this point. Let's move it up. Yeah, so we're still in Thursday time period. Probably Thursday night. I think we're Thursday night now. Later Thursday afternoon to the night. The storm system is steadily pulling away. Now it's just snowing in Massachusetts and the Cape Cod, and then we don't have to pull it any forward. We don't have to pull it forward at this point. The storm is just going to move away from. It's going to make its move away from the coast, and it's pretty centered there. I mean, the low is still at a 1,002 millibar. Again, this is it's early. Will we see a storm that just bombs out, as they say, this bombogenesis? The barometric pressure drops of the low pressure, will it drops rapidly, meaning what? Rapid intensification, which means what? More heavier in terms of precipitation. As the storm system deepens and strengthens and barometric pressure drops, the more of those darker, heavy snow bands we see, and we could potentially be talking in those heavy snow bands several inches per hour of snow. Usually with these type of storm systems, we get those type of banding setting up. That's the question. That will be a more nowcasting situation as we get closer to this time interval. Where does those heavy snow bands set up, and whoever gets into those heavy snow bands will dictate 6 inches. Dictate between a difference between 6 inches, a difference between a foot, difference between a foot or more, or a difference again if any mixing is occurring along the coast or in any areas that will hold back any accumulation of any sleet, freezing rain, etc., etc. So yeah, so this is where we're at. This is where we're at with it right now. Again, for those who are excited for this, I'm excited for this because it gives again something for us to talk about other than COVID or other than just like other things that's happening in the weather department. This gives the fun begins now with these tracking of these storm systems and where they move, how they move, do they disappear, Off, will it even happen? That's another question. Will the storm even system even develop into what we're talking about right now? That's the potential of what they call a bust factor, where this all could be a bust. That's why I don't like getting people too excited. There's some outlets that a lot of people get excited. They get so excited that they just, they're just spilling the beans, man. It's too early to spill it. Right now, this is what the guidance is saying. We go with the guidance, and then as more data samples come in, then those gets infused into these computer models, and then they'll give us more probabilities. They start to produce more forecast probabilities inside them, and then we get the best thereof. But the GFS model we're seeing right now, this is the American model, and we just showed you the snapshots of the European model. Basically, they're almost in agreement, even days out. We saw this pop up on like Wednesday of last week. Wednesday, or it was Wednesday of this past week, Thursday this past week. This popped up on these computer models, and that's days away from a system like this happening, and taking place. So 2020 has been, I know it's been a weird and very odd, very peculiar, very depressing year. I just believe that it's, since the year's not over, there's something odd, more odyssey can happen in the last few days of 2020, and we may get this storm system like this, and it's not unusual. It's unusual, but it's not unusual to get a storm this early in this region. Storms have happened in December before Christmas in this region, but again, a storm system of any magnitude, you're talking about a foot plus of snow is a big deal. So I'm saying, certainly, because if you all remember, last winter, particularly the last 2 winters, have not been good. At least for the big cities, at least for people here in New York and Philadelphia, D.C., Baltimore, it wasn't too good. We didn't really have much snow in this region, actually. So if we get this storm system, that will make up, for those 2 years, at least last year, which was very boring, if you ask me, of a winter. It wasn't really that cold either. I mean, we had cold days, but it wasn't cold like brutal or something consistent. It was very normal / almost even mild, of a winter that we had. So we'll see. We still have a long ways to go. Again, if anyone has any questions, feel free to put in the chat, and we can discuss tonight. We have a few minutes here. I'm excited for you all. And we have a question here that was submitted by our engineer. He asks, what is the purpose of snow for the environment? What is the purpose of snow for the environment? Okay. Good question. Well, a couple of things here that we must note, that we must understand too, is that how does snow even happen? First of all, we know that clouds are made of ice particles, and we know that as higher you go in those clouds, the more colder it gets up in those clouds, right? So, and like hail, for instance, hail is a big ball of ice, which happens in the spring and summer with these thunderstorms that produce. So they pop like popcorn, it pops like popcorn up there in that higher region. It pops, and then as that ice comes down to the lower levels of the cloud, the lower levels of the atmosphere, what happens is that, depending on the temperature, the air temperature, we'll either get snow, we either get a freezing rain, which is borderline, is ice. So it's it's a border between rain and freezing rain. It's like at that 33 degree line. It's a border. So when it comes down, when it comes down from the clouds and hits the surface, it freezes on contact on the surface, on those surfaces that are untreated, grass, streets, sidewalks, etc. Now, for snow to happen 32 degrees, averagely 32 degrees Fahrenheit below, colder, if it's 32 or colder, you get all that's going to come down to the snow. So as it comes down as snow, it covers the ground eventually in this off-white type of color. And they say no snowflake is alike. No snowflake looks alike. No snowflake looks alike. They all look different. If we were to take it underneath a microscope, you see the different shapes, or we pull up the graph that has different shapes of snows. Of snow molecules. They're differently. They're fascinating. They're different shapes. Different sizes and stuff and things of that nature. But one thing for sure about its benefit to the environment, its benefit to certain animals who thrive off of the snow. That is their habitat. Their habitat is suitable. The weather suits them. For us humans, that suits us too well. For some of us who don't like it, but helps to purify the air. Also, it's needed in places like the West Coast, more needed than here in the East. The reason why I say that is because of the years of drought, the years of the wildfires that have happened across the Pacific and mainly California and the West Coast. They thrive off what they call a packed snowpack. You go skiing. For people, they have recreational. There's the different snowflakes. And you see, no snowflake is alike here. No snowflake is alike. So snow provides recreational purposes to humans. Those who like to ski and snowboard and the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, etc., the X Games, all those type of things for humans. But also for humans, we need water. So snow melts above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. Once it gets above 32 degrees, snow tends to melt. And for that region, the West Coast, they thrive off of the ski season, the mountains. How much snow can we get in this, like say the Sierra Mountains of California, the Wasatch of Colorado, and all these different mountainous terrains in the West Coast? How much snow do we get in the winter? It will dictate how much water supply is in those river bodies come spring and summer for the people to use. So less snow in the winter, no good for spring and summer for these places. It's dry. It creates a dry land, which easily can be caught fire. It can easily catch fire, easily. But when you have a water, when you have the soil is moist, kept moist, you have water going down into the river bodies, filling up those reservoirs. That's the word I was looking for. After the bodies filling up those reservoirs in the West Coast, that creates a nice amount of water for people, a nice amount of water. But we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that in the West Coast as of late, and because of that, it's been very dry. We haven't seen much rain. We didn't see much snow in the winters of past, and of course, arson, which is a problem in a lot of these places. Arson. Some people purposely start fires, purposely. And if the surface is already dry and brittle, you have dry leaves. Those can catch fire in 2 seconds. You'd be surprised. You throw a cigarette or a match, those leaves will catch fire in 2 seconds because they're so dry, they're so brittle. And the same thing goes for the soil. So dry, so brittle, the fire will spread like in 2 seconds. So this is what's happening. So the purpose of snow is that when it melts, it helps to fill up the reservoirs in these states. I mean, here in New York, here in the East Coast, we had a drought a drought in some places here, even PA, parts of PA, parts of New York, parts of New England had a drought, and that's due to not receiving enough rainfall um, in the late spring going into the winter. That end of summer going to spring. I mean, the end of summer. Excuse me, end of summer going into end of summer going to fall, then going into the winter. So a lot of areas did not receive an adequate amount of precipitation. So now it creates a drought. Now you're hoping that the winter will put some snow down and we'll get some water to fill up those reservoirs and be ready for the spring and eventually the summer. I hope I answered the question for our engineer and for anyone who was listening. Any other questions? I'm here for you all. But again, I appreciate you all for coming and spending some time with us this evening. Again, like the On Point Weather Report Facebook page. We have the Facebook page, which has been dormant for a little while, but is coming back. Coming back in fruition. On Point Weather Report was coming back in fruition, and we will have the Patreon up very soon. In fact, probably by tomorrow we'll have the Patreon up, and you all can support it. Come in at some tiers, and we're providing some exclusive content, some very exclusive content to you all daily, daily forecasts, etc., and also other surprise content as well. So I want to definitely tap in with you all, especially those who have been following the On Point Weather Report with me here on Facebook for a long time, for a while. It's been some years. It's been a lot of years since I've been doing this here online on Facebook and even on Periscope. So we're bringing that back. And tonight was a nice teaser for you guys, or a nice appetizer, a nice appetizer for you guys this evening. And I hope to see you all tomorrow, and we'll have another discussion tomorrow night as more guidance comes in overnight tonight, late tonight, and into tomorrow morning. And then tomorrow evening we'll have a better understanding and a little bit more in the way of questions for those, especially those who will be potentially affected on Wednesday and Thursday. So again, hope everyone is having a great night. I hope you have a blessed rest of your evening, and hope to see you all, Creator willing, God willing, tomorrow. And enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe, stay healthy, and see you on the flip side. Peace and blessings, everybody.